Hip hop teaches the way that we view money and the way we view what we're gonna do when we get our money, right?
Putting too much on hip hop.
Bro,
We putting too much on hip hop.
Bro, what's a better teaching tool than hip hop?
A whole lot
I
more.
was a teacher.
No.
I was an actual middle school teacher.
Not this hip hop. I'm tired of everybody thinking hip hop. No, this is the problem. We wanted to stop them making hip hop the fucking solution to everybody thinking niggas was getting killed and murdered in the fucking Fort Apache in the Bronx in the 70s, nigga. This is the inbred problem that hip hop is not gonna solve.
Can help.
A rap record?
Hold on. Can help.
Hold on.
Bro, hold on. I know you're not serious right now, bro. I know you're not serious.
Feel me? There ain't nothing wrong with me, feel me? Nigga, you just hating, feel me? That's why you ain't never gonna have no paper, ain't never gonna have no bitches, feel me?
I said I'm never coming back again. Next I stepped away from the mirror. I got my mind made up now, cause I can see the future much clearer.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe without trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. Shout out to them. But he right. You can't put everything on hip hop. Everything is not hip hop's fault. You know, if you materialistic, that's not hip hop's fault. If you bad with money, that's not hip hop's fault. If you like to do drugs, that's not hip hop's fault. If you like to if you like to have a gang of tattoos, that's not hip hop's fault. You know, if you hypersexual, that's not hip hop's fault. You know, if you didn't pay attention in school, it's not hip hop's fault. You know what I'm saying? I had to, if you 40 plus, forget 40, if you 30 plus years old and you still walking around sagging and grown men and women can see your drawers, that's not hip hop's fault. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you just like twerking, that's not because hip hop. That's not African spirituality throughout. No, it's not none of that. It's not none of that. Hip hop is a music, it's a culture, it's an art form, but the vast majority of the things that hip hop gets blamed for, that come off as uncouth, rebellious, or just ignorant or backwards, existed. Those characteristics and things existed before hip hop was ever created. It existed prior. A lot of times people like to just put too much emphasis on hip hop, and it's like, hip hop has become a religion. A religion for people to worship and a religion for people to blame. So, you got people out here who play the game of people are violent because of hip hop. No, this is America. America's always been violent. It's not. I'm sorry. I didn't know the violence just started. When not even hip hop, but when the genre of gangster rap in hip hop started. Now all of a sudden, that's when America became violent. Stop it. Y'all make it like, when America was dropping bombs on Hiroshima, that was, what they was listening to. They were listening to the Wu-Tang Clan. You're like, stop it. World War I, World War II, the world was just listening to hip hop. You know what I mean? Yeah, all the violence and Jim Crow and the lynching, that was hip hop. Yeah, they was listening to hip hop. DJ KKK was all over the radio. Stop it. The founding, of this country and slavery, it was because of hip hop. Yeah. MC Master's Land. Yeah, okay, right. No, it's not hip hop. It's how people are. you know, um, a lot of stuff needs to be taken into consideration, and because people give people passes, you know, some of y'all get you like the kids listen to music, and because you listen to music, you can't pay attention to school. No, if they can remember the lyrics, they can remember their damn homework. It's the same brain. It's the same brain. They just put more effort into memorizing music than they do their lesson. That ain't got nothing to do with hip hop. That got something to do with their priorities. That's what that is. That's what that is. Hip hop made me do it. No, 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 no. And that's why I use the clip of the Boondocks clip of Riley, because it sounds it makes sense if you're a child, you know, you're impressionable, but hip hop made me. And that's another thing that people put too much blame on hip hop for. Y'all blame hip hop for parents spoiling their kids. That's really what's going on. Like, your kid is fly. That's because of hip hop. Okay. They dress a certain way. You buy certain types of clothes because of hip hop, but they don't need them clothes. You bought them those clothes. So, hip hop made you buy them stuff that cost too much that they didn't need. No, that wasn't hip hop. Hip hop, made me buy Louis Vuitton. No, Louis Vuitton was around for hip hop. So was Gucci, Fendi, yada 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 yada, Rolex, all these expensive things that high end quote unquote items. The vast majority of them was around before hip hop. The vast majority of them. Oh, I had to, I needed to get a Benz because of hip hop. Benz was around before hip hop. It's the lifestyle. What lifestyle? When did hip hop become a luxury lifestyle? Is my question. That's what y'all, because it wasn't. It wasn't never a luxury lifestyle. It started making money and people bought luxury things, but hip hop was never a luxury lifestyle. Never. And then we don't. And when I'm saying what I'm saying, we use hip hop in a negative sense. When people they got conscious rap out there. Somehow, did hip hop make you conscious? They don't say that as much anymore. You don't blame hip hop for introducing you to what? How can I say this? Different books, different things in history, y'all, different religions. You don't. Hip hop don't get any credit for reintroducing the youth to Islam, and or Black history in America, or even history in Africa. We don't get that credit, you know. Or uh, hip hop don't get the credit for shining a light out how different groups of people live in different areas. New York lives different than Mississippi, New Orleans, Florida, Chicago, St. Louis, excuse me, y'all, California. You know, it's different lifestyles, different parts of America. You know, different lingo, different everything, different way of life. Hip hop didn't connect you with different cities. Like, okay, we like this, we like that. Oh, okay. It's just negative behavior somehow. Oh, because of hip hop, there's so many, single parent homes. No, single parent homes was here before hip hop. Oh yeah, definitely here before hip hop. Don't act like it wasn't. And then let's it's just the music of the time, because I remember rock and roll had that stigma. I'm under the weather, so that's why I'm coughing so sorry. That's why that's where the term sex, drugs, and rock and roll came from. It had that negative stigma. Jazz actually had that negative stigma prior to that. The blues had that negative stigma. Well, R&B, rhythm and blues, that had a negative stigma. Um, Pretty much every form of music when it started making money and started getting popular in America had a negative stigma. Pretty much because all of them came from Black America. So that's the other thing. But this other thing where we got to put all of this extra. That's why I say we putting too much responsibility and weight on hip hop for all this stuff. Because people are using hip hop to people have used hip hop in so many different facets. Well, we're gonna use hip hop to get you to vote. That's not. Do you see how that didn't work? We're gonna use hip hop to get you to eat right. We're gonna use hip hop, to get you to work out. We're gonna use hip hop. It's like, hey, bro, to get you to wear uh dress clothes. Like, it's like, what the fuck? Hip hop became the music to introduce things and reintroduce things to people. It's like, that's for kids, man. We grown. Once you hit a certain level of maturity, you listen to the music, you enjoy the music, but it doesn't fucking, you know, I'm not going to, it doesn't affect your life like that. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. You know. So that's my 2 cents about that, man. Hip hop can't be responsible for everything, bro. It's just some regular old, adult stuff going on in the world. But I'm gonna leave it at that. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.